Blazers, losers of their last two to, I don't know, two of the best teams in the NBA. Not too shabby. Celtics and Cavaliers. But you called that loss, and I know you guys talked about this yesterday, the near must win for Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, just the math. And the math is, 100% now, X plus 4, go in algebra. Whatever the teams in front of them win plus 4 games.
Okay.
And the only way that math changes is with the win of the Sacramento Kings. And that is because if they beat the Kings, if they get in a 3-way tiebreak between the Blazers, Kings, and Suns, the Blazers would have the tiebreaker in that scenario over both teams because it's the total wins against those teams.
Right.
It's the only scenario in which they would have a tiebreaker. So if they are going to make the play-in, this is a must-win. Now, they also have to go probably, 9 games left? They probably, at bare minimum, have to go 7-2. More likely 8-1. Well, think about it. If you have to go,
they have gone 10-12.
Look, if you have
at one point this year, they went 10-12 games.
If you have to go X plus 4,
yeah,
just the math says it. Let's say that the Mavs and the let's take the Mavs out of this. Let's say the
Suns.
Mavs are bad. Let's just say the Suns and the Kings. They win 4 games out of their final 10. Okay. If you're X plus 4, you have to win 8.
Yeah.
Not a lot of wiggle room. That's the crazy thing. They could go 9-0 and it would not matter.
Right.
There's nothing they control because the thing you have to look at this time of year, it's not the wins, not the games back, it's the loss column. And because the Blazers already are at 41 losses, the other teams have to lose.
This year has been so weird to be a fan of the Portland Trail Blazers, to cover the Portland Trail Blazers because of what has happened, right? We've seen so much growth in a lot of areas with a lot of players and coaches too, Chauncey Billups. But it's also like you can see what the limitations of this team have been. And I didn't think that this would fracture the fan base as much as it has. Unexpected success, but it's because of how good the draft is, knowing that they don't have a star and you need a star at some point. And that it's like such a weird feeling to be like, they are in a position where, sure, mathematically, it's possible that they could be in the play-in, right?
It's the math right now. When I looked at it last night, they have a 2% chance of making the play-in. It's damn near non-existent. They currently have a better chance at the 10th best with the 10th best odds of getting the number 1 overall pick, 3% as opposed to making the play-in.
And that is why it feels like this is going to be like you don't want to call it a lost season because of how much growth you've seen from certain players, but from how they could potentially get that star.
Yeah.
And that's a hard part about being a fan in the NBA is that if you don't have a star, this is what it feels like.
And the flip side of the math is like the Blazers' most likely outcome right now is to end up 8th or with the 8th best odds.
Okay.
So right now, the Miami Heat are at 31-41, or a half game ahead, quote unquote, but they're behind with the 8th best odds in the draft lottery, 31-41. The Blazers are 32-41. So the Blazers could very easily go from 10-8 like that.
But they also have, I mean, when you look at the games that they have remaining, boy.
For who, Portland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got some teams that are not trying to win at all.
Well, the interesting thing about that is the only team that's really, well, actually there's 2 teams. There's the Jazz and the Raptors. But beyond that, Miami and San Antonio are still winning.
Yeah.
Like even though they don't have Wemby and Fox in San Antonio, they're still trying to win. If you look at Miami has to make the playoffs. They have to. Because if they don't, they will owe unprotected picks in 2027 and 2029.
You don't mean they have to win. You want them to lose.
Well, not look, I would love for them to finish ninth if the Blazers finished eighth and missed the playoffs. I want the Blazers to have the better odds. But yeah, no, it would be a real you hate to see it situation. Oh no, unprotected picks no matter what you do, owed to two different teams over 2 years. Oh, yeah, Heat culture, suck it. Yeah, no, I'd hate to see that. But the Heat are even with as bad as they had been playing, they lost 8 in a row. They've won 2 in a row.
Okay. All right.
And they're more likely to win down the stretch because they're playing in the Eastern Conference. Just the math of it all.
Yep.
So it was probably about 6 weeks ago I said the most likely position the Blazers were going to end up in was the 8th best odds, and the math is strongly driving it towards that.
Boy.
Look, if the Blazers lose tonight, and look, they could win tonight because the Kings, good God, are they bad. Sabonis he's playing, but he's coming off a bad ankle injury. Malik Monk's been in and out. Zach LaVine's been out, which I don't know if they're better or worse with Zach LaVine. Not really sure. Keegan Murray went nuts the other night. He had 8 threes.
That trade, the LaVine trade.
Oh, the Fox trade? Yeah. Ugh.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Just what you gave up and he wanted to get out.
Yeah.
And he made it clear exactly where he wanted to go. De'Aaron Fox wanted to go to San Antonio. So you were kind of dead to rights, but you pull in the other guy in the league that is not as good, but also is toxic.
And well, he's been better at least in that stuff, but he's injury prone.
Yeah.
And he has that contract, and you're just like, that's what you got, huh? Look, De'Aaron Fox isn't like one of the 10, 15 best players in the league. He's pretty stinking good, though.
It also goes to show how quickly everything can turn.
You
Because
just the Kangs all over again.
They had 2 years ago, it was like this team could be an NBA title winner by 2025. And now we're looking at it going,
they're probably going to finish under 500.
They are in no man's land. And
that when you talk about no man's land, that is purgatory. What the Kings are in right now. That is purgatory. Their books are jacked.
Yeah.
Their assets are messed up. Like, that is actual purgatory. Who's the young player that you're looking at?
Right. I look at it, well, the Blazers are in the same. Their books are a little bit more clean.
They're a lot more clean.
But they still don't have a star.
There's avenues to doing that still, though. Sacramento looks very much like the Blazers did 3 years ago without Dame.
Yeah, but we've talked about avenues for a really long time here.
Sure.
And that's what sucks.
No, I mean, that's the reality. Like, that's the whole, like when you have a player like Dame, like that's when that trade was happening. What was the first thing we said is, look, man, it's going to be different. Because when you don't have a top 75 player of all time on your roster, it's a barren wasteland. And don't be wrong, the last 6 weeks have been fun. Like, selfishly, being in the building, watching them play like competent basketball and watching guys grow.
Yeah.
My God. Like, I've heard people say, oh my God, that was terrible basketball. I'm like, did you watch last year?
Last year, and then the end of the year before.
Yeah, like
that, it was truly bad.
It was physically painful being in the building.
Yeah. This team has improved so damn much.
They're clearly better than the dregs of the NBA.
Yes, but that is a hard place to be because the dregs in the NBA, one of them is going to get Cooper Flagg.
Let's see if they don't screw it up.
Yeah, right. But they're going to get him.
Yeah. No. Look,
and you
the guy
can't win a title unless you got that guy.
And getting the guy is the first step because it gives you the perfect example is Luka Doncic. You can screw it up multiple times. If a player is good enough, you have the wiggle room that you have is a lot wider.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you also, we think of this and we go, like the Washington Wizards have already been down this road. They had John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Otto Porter. Like
top picks. John Wall was a number 1 overall pick.
You were sitting there like, can't win without stars. They had a star, and then they had 2 really damn good players to go along with them. And they look at them now. They're the worst team in the NBA right now.
I mean, they're stripped down to the nuts and bolts. Not a great place to be.